Girl aligned her foot with the shoe, and then made a mark with a kitchen knife. This was the only way to cut it off accurately. The reason she was so ruthless was simply so she could wear the shoes and marry the prince. Ironically, however, she cut off the wrong foot. Her mother smiled slightly when she saw this, and then kindly cut off her daughter's left foot. But the girl's sacrifice went far beyond that. In order to marry the prince, she even underwent plastic surgery, but the doctor's methods made her wish she were dead. The surgical tools were nothing more than a chisel. The eyelash transplantation was even more outrageous. They were sewn on with needles and thread. The bizarre doctor even wiped his nose on his gloves to disinfect them. The girl's sacrifice was only the beginning, and had recently lost her father. Her mother then remarried with her and her sister, and married an old man, and this was merely because the old man was a nobleman. Marrying him not only allowed her to enjoy wealth and luxury, but also enabled her two daughters to achieve social mobility. The old man had a beautiful daughter, who would now be Anne's stepsister. After seeing her beauty, and began to feel inferior. That afternoon, her mother married the old man, and that evening, the family had a joyful dinner together. Then her stepfather threw the cake in Anne's face, seeing her mother dare not speak out in anger, and could only force a smile despite her embarrassment. After all, she would have to rely on her stepfather for her livelihood. But the next moment, the old man began to convulse, and then collapsed and died, and was so frightened that she froze on the spot. Fortunately, there was still the castle and the inheritance. However, while bringing food to her stepsister, Anne learned that her stepfather had married her mother, because he had recently gone bankrupt, and ran to tell her mother, only to find the house crowded with creditors due to her stepfather's bankruptcy and debts. Not only were the land and livestock seized, but even her mother's own money was taken. Afterward, her mother collapsed in despair, and knew how difficult it was for her mother. So she said she could marry the prince. That afternoon, a messenger from the palace arrived at the door. The prince was going to hold a ball in 4 months, to select his queen. So he notified the noble women to prepare, and was very happy to hear this, because as Anna's stepsister, she was also eligible to attend the ball. She even fantasized about being with the prince. To seize this opportunity, her mother decided to mortgage all their belongings, and bring into a doctor for plastic surgery. Once Anne became the princess, they would never lack money. The doctor proposed first removing the braces, then reshaping Anne's nose, and finally extending her eyelashes, and was thrilled upon hearing this, but her smile soon faded. After the surgery, Anne had to wear the nose brace, until her nose was completely set. One day, Anne returned home, and happened to discover something scandalous in the stable. She quietly slipped in to investigate, and saw Agnes and the stable boy's scandalous affair. Agnes had already fallen in love with the stable boy, and she was caught red-handed by Anne, and naturally wouldn't let this opportunity slip away. She told her mother everything. Her mother was furious when she found out, so her mother punished her by making her a servant, and forbade her from attending the prince's ball. The stable boy was also driven away by her mother, and was overjoyed when she heard this. With Agnes, her powerful rival, out of the picture, she was one step closer to marrying the prince. On the other hand, since losing her virginity, Agnes had completely become a servant in the house. She had to serve in her meals, seeing Agnes's disheveled appearance, and gave her the nickname Cinderella. That evening, Agnes also dug out her own ball gown. She too wanted to attend the ball, but when she returned home, she encountered Anne, and immediately understood everything. She would never allow Agnes to steal her thunder, so she snatched and tore the gown to shreds. The mother intervened to stop the commotion. Agnes rushed to her father's body. Unconsciously, Agnes fell asleep. Then a beam of light shone in, and a familiar voice awakened Agnes. It was Agnes's long-deceased mother. Her mother had prepared dancing shoes for her, and even the ball gown had been repaired by a silkworm. Her mother told her that these would only last until midnight, so she must leave before then. The next evening, Anne put on her dress, and rushed to the palace. Everyone was enchanted by Anne, but the prince remained unmoved. The girls then formed a circle, waiting for the prince to choose one of them to dance with. The prince suddenly froze. A girl wearing a veil and a long dress immediately caught his attention. She was Anne's stepsister, Agnes. Watching Agnes dance with the prince, Anne was heartbroken. As the clock struck midnight, Agnes turned and fled immediately. The prince chased after her, while Anne gritted her teeth in anger. Then the prince announced, "The one whose shoe fits will be the princess."